Hello, everyone, and welcome to this video on developing a hybrid cloud baseline. We're going to talk today about hybrid identity and hybrid networking. My name is Matt Crum, hybrid Azure design sales engineer here with TD Synnex, and I'm going to walk you through some topics today on developing your own hybrid cloud identity with hybrid networking. We're going to talk about and define what is a complete hybrid identity. We'll then discuss managing a hybrid Azure networking environment. And then lastly, selling hybrid identity and hybrid networking. Let's first start by defining a complete hybrid identity. So what is hybrid identity with Azure? It all starts with Azure Active Directory. Azure Active Directory is a cloud-based identity and access management service that enables employees to sign in and access internal and external resources, including on-premises and cloud apps. Azure Active Directory provides a number of benefits to organizations. First, whether people are on-site or remote, users can have seamless access to all of their applications so they can stay productive from almost anywhere. You can also automate workflows for user lifecycle and provisioning and save time and resources with self-service management tools. Azure Active, Azure Active Directory also supports single sign-on with thousands of pre-integrated software as a service applications. So you can go look in the Azure Marketplace and find thousands of these SaaS applications readily available to integrate into single sign-on. From a security and governance perspective, Azure Active Directory safeguards user credentials by enforcing strong authentication and conditional access policies. This allows businesses to effectively manage their identities by ensuring that the right people have the right access to the right resources. Lastly, with Azure Active Directory, you can integrate identity into your own applications. By doing so, you can accelerate the adoption of your application in the enterprise by supporting single sign-on and user provisioning. One of the key benefits and features of hybrid identity is single sign-on. Here are the few of the key benefits of implementing a hybrid identity with single sign-on. First, single sign-on provides a way for organizations to safeguard their critical business information with multi-factor authentication and role-based access. Next, we know the importance of remote work, and single sign-on connects your workforce to the applications they need from almost anywhere in the world, making it much easier to implement remote work. Finally, single sign-on simplifies access and identity management across your organization with one easy-to-use platform. So you may be asking yourself, though, why is hybrid identity important to me and my customers? Well, let's look at some numbers first. Microsoft commissioned a study back in 2020 to understand the total economic impact of securing applications with Azure Active Directory, and really the findings were very eye-opening. The report showed a 123% ROI and a 45% reduction in the chance of a data breach impacting a business. Those are key numbers, and those are huge when you look at why hybrid identity makes sense. With Azure Active Directory, it helps you meet your customers' needs by providing stronger security, overcoming vulnerabilities that arise from users with multiple credentials, and enabling employees to securely share resources when they work outside the corporate firewall. It also supports better productivity by avoiding delays caused by forgotten password and separate sign-ons into each application, which improves workflow for local and remote employees. Lastly, Azure Active Directory ensures easier management to support a remote workforce, eliminating time-consuming requests for password resets and maintaining multiple identity management systems. Now let's talk about hybrid Azure networking and how we can make that work for your business. Hybrid networking with Azure connects on-premises, Azure, and multi-cloud resources, enabling you to manage your entire network using centralized access and routing policies. With hybrid networking, this allows organizations to design future-ready infrastructure that enables secure on-premises, branch, and remote work connections, allows them to scale identity management solutions to Azure, while also migrating their disaster recovery to the cloud. And all of this prepares their infrastructure for advanced or data intensive workloads. So, regardless of their business needs, This provides them with the resources necessary to continue functioning on a day-to-day basis. Deploying hybrid networking provides a number of benefits to your customers, such as hybrid networking will allow them to secure remote access to on premises and cloud resources from almost anywhere. It easily scales for peak demand by designing network topologies that optimize the flow of traffic. And hybrid networking is how we build hybrid solutions that will run in the cloud and connect securely to on premises data sources. So, why is hybrid networking important? Again, let's look at some numbers. Uh, According to an IDC forecast on the worldwide use of public cloud infrastructure as a service, they're expecting an almost 30% growth rate in the space. That is a huge opportunity for you to help your customers as they look to move to an infrastructure as a service model. Additionally, IDC also published a report that predicted at least 70% of digitally enabled SMBs will operate under a hybrid model of working, with remote work emerging as the norm by the end of 2021. So, as you can see, hybrid networking will be key in helping your customers. And hybrid networking will help you meet your customers' needs by providing stronger safeguards as organizations require secure connections to cloud and on premise resources for remote work, by offering better performance, by eliminating slow load times and network latency during peak usage, and by supporting a flexible infrastructure as businesses need cloud services to work remotely, support growth, and keep up with their ever changing business needs. Now, lastly, I'll wrap up and we'll talk about some key things to remember when selling hybrid identity and hybrid networking. It all begins with starting the conversation. What are the appropriate questions to ask your customers? And these are just some of the things to keep in mind. You should be asking your customers what are their top security concerns or what are their top security priorities? Understanding what resources that they share with both partners and customers, and will they easily manage access and security to those apps and data. Also, in what way has identity or access management become costly or complex for them as they look to reduce their overhead in association with an identity management system? What management systems are they using today, and how many of them are there? Will help you understand whether or not Azure Active Directory and a hybrid identity makes sense. How do they provision and manage applications for remote employees? It's key to understand what their processes look like today and how we can simplify that for them. What cloud services are they using? What's their cloud roadmap? And you may find that some customers are really early in that decision process, and they may not have much of a roadmap. And this will help them define what that looks like. And then lastly, how do you give employees the right access while keeping bad actors away? And that's where Azure Active Directory can really help by understanding who needs access to what resources at what time will help you define that identity. Now, you may run into some objections and just some objection handling that you may want to think about. You may have a customer tell you, "Hey, I'm already using Active Directory. Why do I need a cloud-based version?" And if they're using cloud services, supporting remote employees or collaborating externally with both customers or partners, they can really benefit from Azure Active Directory. When Microsoft introduced Active Directory domain services way back in Windows Server 2000, this gave businesses the ability to manage multiple on-premise infrastructure components and system using a single identity per user. Azure Active Directory takes that same approach, but it takes it to the next level by giving organizations an identity as a service solution for all of their applications, whether those are in the cloud or on premise. So that is key. Another objection you might hear is, well, I don't need another identity management solution to manage. And we understand that. We understand that having multiple systems to manage is time consuming and costly for IT departments. And you can integrate your current on-premise Active Directory and other directories with Azure Active Directory. which makes managing so much simpler. And Azure Active Directory already works with thousands of applications, as I mentioned previously, things like Microsoft 365, SAP Concur, Workday. All of those are already integrated with Azure Active Directory. And on top of that, they can add their own custom applications. So it makes identity management so much simpler. You may also hear, I like the idea of simpler management, but I'm worried about security. And yes, we know that security is paramount nowadays. Azure Active Directory helps protect users, applications, and devices in almost any location. For example, multi-factor authentication will give you an additional layer of authentication protection to provide a significant barrier against cybercrime. Safeguards also include things like conditional access policies based on location, application sensitivity, device state, and user or sign in risk. Lastly, you might hear, I need to control cost. This probably isn't the best time for me to put in new technology. And we understand costs, but you get great value for the money with Azure Active Directory with things like single sign-on, multi-factor authentication, password self-service, integration with a number of software as a service applications, and the ability to enforce conditional access for users. And if you're using Microsoft 365 Business Premium, those customers already have access to Azure Active Directory. Azure Active Directory helps keep IT overhead low with self-service capabilities like password resets. And in addition, it also is a great foundation for future implementation of cloud services or device upgrades. So as you can see, while there may be objections, there are plenty of ways to discuss this with your customer to help them understand the importance and the benefits of Azure Active Directory. So to sum this up, we've talked about what a hybrid identity is and how you can define that. We've talked about hybrid Azure networking and the benefits to your customers, and we've talked about how to sell hybrid identity and hybrid networking. However, if you're looking for more resources, please reach out to your TD SYNNEX rep. They will get you in contact with the appropriate experts here at TD SYNNEX. You can also check out the learning management system at learn.synnex.com, or check out Microsoft's information at the SMB Partner Hub. There is a wealth of knowledge there. aka.ms/Azure SMB Hub is your one-stop shop for all things Azure for SMBs. Thank you for your time, and I hope you enjoyed this video.